All right, let's start with a couple of teams that wound up clinching playoff spots. The Riders and Argos, both with big wins over the weekend to clinch playoff spots. So we're getting down to it, right? I mean, we know that Winnipeg is in. We know Saskatchewan's in. Crossovers are going to get tighter and tighter and tighter as a team like the Argos wind up winning last week. It's a huge game for the Lions coming up, but let's start with that and just those two teams getting that out of the way right now.
Well, I mean, you look at the Argos and the Lions. The Argos did everything they could do to gift the game to the Lions. They forgot that the BC Lions had a timeout, so instead of trying to get a first down, 2 kneel downs, then they had to punt the ball back, and Jimmy Camacho misses a 34-yard field goal. But that being said, if you watch that game, Argos should have had way more points on the board. McLeod Bethel-Thompson probably missed 3 or 4 throws, at least 2 touchdown throws where he had a receiver open and overthrew him. So they need better quarterbacking play. As for the Lions, man, just one of those seasons. I mean, when you get a break like that where the opposing team completely screws up their clock management at the end of the game, and you can't take advantage of it by hitting on a 34-yard field goal. They missed 3 field goals in the last, 8 minutes of the game. 2 34-yarders and a 50-plus yarder that could have won in the game. But again, that's the season it is for the Lions.
Yeah, it's the third game this season they've wound up losing because of missed field goals. And Jimmy Camacho looked great when the field goals didn't matter. There was a run there where he kicked a number in a row, and just unfortunately for him, he got to that Saskatchewan game, stubbed his toe there, and then did it again here. And as a result, the Lions have gone out and brought in another kicker, Nick Vogel, who they've signed. He's going to go in COVID protocol. We don't know if he'll play this week, but certainly the Lions are looking to make a change in their place-kicking situation. Meanwhile, Trevor Harris, who wound up going to Montreal, he did wind up finishing their game this past week in reasonable performance, 12 of 15, 123 yards and a touchdown. Kahari Jones has announced that he will start this weekend as the Alouettes go to Winnipeg to take on the Bombers. And he has said that Matthew Shills, who was starting for the previous couple of games, is dealing with some injuries. He's on the injured list right now, so it doesn't look like he's even going to dress. So Trevor Harris gets an opportunity for a new life here. Could Trevor Harris be the next Zach Collaros, a late entry into the season with a new team and wind up turning it around, Moj?
You know what? No, not the Trevor Harris that I saw throughout most of the year in Edmonton. I mean, again, he had that one good game against the BC Lions, but other than that, to me, he's been disappointing. Other than this weekend, as you mentioned, he had good numbers going 12 of 15, and who knows, maybe Kahari Jones can spin a little magic with Trevor Harris, but I'm not buying it until I see some more.
Meanwhile, as far as the Edmonton Elks are concerned, look, it's been a tough season in Edmonton. If you saw their crowd in the last game, it did not look good at all. Almost looked like we were at an Argos game. And they've got a number of injuries right now. You look at Darrell Walker, Greg Ellingson, James Wilder. None of those guys have been practicing for the last couple of days. You look at Walker, it looks like he checked out a couple of weeks ago. I mean, he can't get open, bad body language, just wasn't on the same page with the quarterbacks. You wonder how sustainable that situation is right now. It feels on the surface like you've got some guys that might be mailing it in, and you've also got a situation coming up where you've got that compressed schedule, 3 games in 7 days, that makes up for that COVID postponement game earlier this year. So a tough way for Edmonton to finish the season right now. On top of that, Nick Arbuckle, who they just acquired in a trade from Toronto, they just wound up extending him yesterday. He winds up extending into 2022, and he's actually going to make $340,000 in guaranteed money, or hard money as we call it in CFL circles, which means that he's your starter next year. So I'm surprised, given the fact that they haven't really seen him in a game yet, that they would go out and do that. We knew that they were negotiating, but are you surprised they made that level of commitment? He's actually going to make more next year than he is this year, Moj.
Well, when it comes to Arbuckle and talking to some people here in Toronto about him, of course, he was here. Very, very cerebral quarterback. But the knock on Arbuckle, from what I've been told, is that he overthinks things too much. Instead of just going out there and just making the simple decision, keep it simple, stupid, the old KISS rule, Arbuckle has a tendency to kind of like, his mind just gets saturated with so many pieces of information that he doesn't make the right decision. So when I look at Arbuckle, I don't know. I don't know if he's your quarterback in the future. I do know one thing, though. I think there's going to be a complete house cleaning at the end of the year in Edmonton. The GM, Sunderland, will be gone. I think the coach will be gone, Elizondo. I think they're going to blow that thing up and start anew, because not only has it been a tough year, but it's the way they've competed or lack thereof. And they've got some good pieces, whether it's a Walker, whether it's an Ellingson. And, it just seems like that team right now is in disarray. And to me, that starts with your management and your coaching staff.
I don't think they're going to make those changes because they extended Brock Sunderland before this season. They don't want to eat another 3 years on that contract. On top of that, do you let your outgoing general manager trade away your franchise quarterback, bring in another quarterback when there's not much on the line this season, and then extend him to that kind of money for next year? I don't think so. I think Brock Sunderland's going to stay, and in all likelihood, Jamie Elizondo will as well if Sunderland does in fact stay, because he's got term on his deal as well. So I don't think it's going to happen that quickly, regardless of the fact there probably is going to be some pressure to get that done.
2 words: consumer confidence. Do the Elks fans have consumer confidence in that organization right now? Take a look at the attendance totals last game, and you tell me.
Yeah, well, look, I can't debate that part of it. Let's get to our games for this week. We've got 4 games on the schedule. We'll start on Friday. The Lions in Hamilton. BC lost again. They are now in must-win territory. They tell us that, look, it's still in our own destiny. Essentially, if the Lions win out, they can get a playoff spot. Do they have any chance of getting that process started in Hamilton this week?
Well, they hung tough against the Argonauts, although, again, as I pointed out, the Argonauts probably missed a couple of touchdown passes. I think the Lions hang tough in this one. It's a 6.5-point spread. I think Hamilton wins, but I don't think they cover, so I will take the Lions and the points.
All right, well, if you take the Ticats, because I was going to, I'm going to have to take BC to win this game. And other than the fact that they finally gained some confidence, I talked on this show last week about how if they got down 10 points, they were going to fold the tent and go home. That didn't happen. They got down 10 points exactly, and they came back. They showed a little bit of character. I think they found some confidence. They'll get Lucky Whitehead a little more integrated this week, and I think the Lions are going to find a way to win the game, not just cover, given what's on the line. Just let's hope it doesn't come down to a final play field goal attempt. Meanwhile, the Rough Riders are in Edmonton to take on the injury-depleted, new quarterbacked Edmonton Elks. Look, I'm not sure that Arbuckle's going to start this week. In fact, I doubt he's going to start. I'm not sure if he's even going to dress at all. Probably dresses and watches, but what are the chances Edmonton has at home against Saskatchewan? Also, Duke Williams left practice early today because of an injury. He was out there stretching and then didn't wind up practicing, went to the locker room early. So he hasn't been there long, but that's not a good thing for Saskatchewan.
You know what? If you gave me the Rough Riders -10, I'd still take the Rough Riders -10 on the road. That's the lack of confidence that I have in Edmonton right now. Again, I just see Edmonton playing out the string. The Riders have something to play for, mainly second in the West. I'll take the Rough Riders in this one, and I'll give up the 6 points as well.
Yeah, and with the fans in Saskatchewan, it might actually really, really feel like a home game, not just in terms of color, but just in terms of numbers. I mean, I could see Saskatchewan putting another 5,000 to 10,000 fans in that stadium and making it look good. Argos in Ottawa. Argos favored by 10.5 in this game.
Too much, considering what I saw from the Argos. Again, I'm just not a huge believer in McLeod Bethel-Thompson. I mean, you go back, watch the tape against the Lions. He missed at least 2, possibly 4 touchdown throws in that game. The Red Blacks at home, they've got some life with Harris, the new quarterback they got there. I'll take the Red Blacks, and I will take the 10.5 points in this one with the Red Blacks.
Yeah, I'm going to take Toronto to win, but I will take Ottawa to cover. I just don't believe 10.5 points for that team. I mean, you got to be an elite team to be getting 10.5 against Air, and I don't think Toronto is that. They win, Ottawa covers. Alouettes at Winnipeg. Winnipeg favored by 12. Do you take the points in this game and give it to Montreal? Yes, I'm saying it first.
Is a lot of points. And you know what?
I'm taking Montreal to cover.
Let's take the Alouettes. I'll take the 12 points. Who knows? Maybe the Alouettes can even do the unthinkable and beat Winnipeg. But Winnipeg is due to, well, come out flat one game. Have a bad game. Have some breaks go against them. And if there's anybody out there right now that you think could probably beat them, maybe it's the Alouettes. So you know what? I'll take the Alouettes and the points. Who knows? Maybe we have an upset special because clearly Winnipeg is due.
Yeah, a lot at stake for Montreal right now, not nearly as much at stake for Winnipeg. And I think over the course of these last few games, you are slowly going to see Winnipeg start managing their roster. They can't make wholesale substitutions given the CFL salary cap, and they don't want to lose momentum. But you're going to see Sean Maguire get a start at some point. Not saying it's this week, but you're going to see players slowly get managed. Willie Jefferson's reps cut down. Pick a player that they can't afford to lose for the playoffs. I think you're going to see that. And at some point down the stretch, you might see a stumble. I do think Winnipeg wins the game because it's at home, but I do think Montreal is going to cover this, and I would absolutely take the points. And that's it.